Miss Mary.
Today our topic is on self-care, and I think it's a very worthy topic for our upside-down world of 2020. Though COVID and the many changes that we've had to deal with, of not having a regular routine and not being able to socialize, we were just sitting at the blue table discussing some of the positives of being able to order and have it brought to your car, being able to have more family time, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have more self-care time. I heard someone else talking about meltdowns a little earlier with that. In the book Risen Motherhood, Emily Jensen, in chapter 15, talks about self-care, and she relates it to having the update notifications for your computer. That's something that pops up and you can say, not now, later, remind me in an hour, I'll get to it. Then it pops up again and you just don't want to do it right now, so you push it off to eventually you may have a computer shutdown. And then what do you say to yourself? You say, man, I wish I'd have handled that. So it gets to where maybe your computer won't start back up. Maybe it's going to cost you something to have it repaired. My mind jumped to that little warning light on the dashboard of your car when it pops on, and it's telling you something's not right in your car. And you can ignore it, but eventually where do you find yourself? Sitting on the side of the road in that. So it's not something you want to ignore, but that's what we do as women and as moms. We often push our self-care to the back and said that can come later. That's not something we need to address now, but there are a lot of side effects from that. I can be a witness of irritability, burnout, sickness. My great one is resentment. I can sometimes get very upset when I see my husband over there reading the newspaper, kicked back in the chair, and I've done schoolwork, dinner, housework, laundry, and he's just oblivious to that. But I plaster on that smile and charge on, My example of that was my mom. My mom worked 7 days a week. She had a house full of kids. She would get up in the morning, cook a meal before she would go to work, come home at night, address whatever had to be done. If she didn't sleep, she didn't sleep. That was my example of what it was of self-care. Never took any time for herself. And her side effects was she was a yeller. She didn't have time to deal with you, and she would tend to get a little loud and snippy, without the self-care. I sort of followed in that footsteps until I found a different way to deal with it. So truth be told, why did I not take time for self-care during my early years of motherhood and womanhood? Because I strive for perfection. Is there anybody else in here who does that? Strives for perfection. And I didn't want anybody to think that I was being selfish, because to me to take time was being selfish. How did I learn to deal with that? I took a Bible study class on discipleship, and it was a major program to get into, and I had to set aside some study time, and I did it at the same time, 9 o'clock every night. Did my family like it? No. But did they adjust? Yes. They knew at 9 o'clock I was going in, I was going to have that time to study, and when I came out, I was out. And before long, they never bothered you. Before that, they would knock on the door, come in the room, talk to you, ask you everything. Of course, what do we do as mothers? We teach our children those eye roll things where you roll that eye and take that deep breath. That's what we give them. So they honestly get it from us. being in that goal to perfection, I wanted to be the perfect P31 woman. You know, we read that in scripture. She's clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. I had that all wrong. When I would look at that scripture, I'd study on it, I would say, yep, she's all about the checklist. And boy, I have a checklist written down and I have one in my head. So I'm doing the double time because I check it off. If it's checked off, it means I've accomplished something and that I've done well and I'm pleased with myself about what's getting done. But that's not what the P31 woman's about. She's about virtue. She's about being virtuous. She's about having the right heart and the heart that's focused on the Lord. So with that, it makes you understand that we need the time to get in the Word. We need some alone time, and what better example than we have of that than Jesus himself. In Matthew 11, he tells us, "Come to me, all who is weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn," I'm going to draw that word out, "learn from me." So that's our example. I mean, is he not the man that can sleep through the storm? You know, he's in the boat sleeping through the worst storms there are. He even took time in Luke to withdraw, to be alone, and to pray. In several scriptures, you'll hear him say he left and was alone and prayed. He took that time to be with God because it gave him a stronger personal relationship with the Lord. It also filled him. It also let him have a better relationship with his disciples and the people that he was ministering to. So we've all heard the old saying, right? You can't fill from an empty cup. Did Pastor Joy not preach on it? Not the other week? And he gave us the hand signals to there. You've got to fill in order to share and to fill others. We as moms have to keep our fires burning. If our fires are burning, then our children can glow in the warmth of our fires. That's one of a good reason to fill yourself, to take self-care time. Even if it's just 5 minutes to go scream alone in the closet, or my favorite place, and I know some other moms are, is to go shut myself in the bathroom because they dare not come to the bathroom. You know, that's like the sacred territory for moms, is to come in the bathroom. But we as women must keep our fires burning to spread the warmth in our community. Is that not what we have here with Mom2Mom? We have a community, and in order to fill our fires, we come here so that we can have that and spread the warmth of Christ to others. So life with Christ isn't a life about get it all done today. It's not a life about checklists. It's for us to recognize our limits. Jesus showed us that he even had limits. It's for us to love on ourselves, to take a little time. If you love it on yourself, it's easier to love on others than there. So self-care is a life full of peace, joy, and rest for our souls. In your little handouts we'll have today, you have self-care tips. It has some scripture reference in there. You have a care planner. In that care planner, it has 3 different areas. So if you'll take time sometime this day or this week and jot down some things on those lines and hold yourself accountable for it. You know, even if it's just to go take an extra minute, having a full glass of water than rather a sip out of the bottle. You know, you can write that down. It can be simple things for you to do. You have discussion questions which are based on the book, Risen Motherhood. If you haven't gone to their blog page, she has several blogs out, podcasts on self-care. It'll even go into thoughts for your children. There, it's 16, some are 16 minutes, some are 19 minutes. Some can be a little longer. You could put that on your little planner. Plan to listen to a Risen Motherhood podcast and take a little time for it. But as we said, self-care is soul care. So I want to close with saying, my soul sisters, take some self-care for yourself. It will be beneficial for you and for everyone that's around you.